swearing in all the supervisors.
Before I swear you in, I just wanted to say that 41 years ago, I became your district attorney, and I was also corporation counsel at the time. And we also had one judge. The world has changed a little bit, and the courts were here. But the board met at 7 p.m., often went to midnight. You know, there was no administrator for the board, and usually around 9 o'clock, Edgar Perry, who was in his 80s or 90s, would say motion for a break, and we always had pie. The 4-H had pie there, so that was a really nice tradition to have pie. I said that was the best part of county board, is having pie at 9 p.m. So, but it's an honor to do this. You know, the board just does such tremendous work for the county. It's been a progressive board over the many years. You can be proud of that. But I'll have you all stand and then raise your right hands. And I'll do it slowly, so you just repeat. I'll tell you what to do. So first thing I'm going to have you say is I and then your name. Having been elected county board supervisor. In district number, and then put in your number. In and for the said county of Barron. In said state. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin. And will faithfully discharge. The duties of the office of District Supervisor. To the best of my ability. So help me God. All right, now you can put your hands down. Congratulations.
Okay, and then we will be passing out the actual oath of office, and I ask that everybody signs in the middle, and then make sure you give that back to myself, Wendy, or Deanne before you leave today, because I'll need to keep it on file in my office. And everybody should also have a pen at their desk today too, since we'll be voting on paper ballots. The next thing is I need everybody to mark themselves as present in the software, please. They should all be alphabetical. Funky. Oh, we're good. All right, and tallying roll, we have 29 members present. And now we will have Jeff read the public notification.
Public meeting certification. Wendy Coleman, my executive assistant, has complied with Wisconsin open meeting requirements. Meeting agendas have been posted on electronic meeting notice boards located on the first and second floor of the Government Center and the first floor of the Justice Center. A hard copy of the meeting agenda has been posted in the county clerk's office, and she's verified the proper posting of the meeting. This is the Barron County Board of Supervisors scheduled for Tuesday, the 16th of April, 2024, with an amended agenda posted on April 11th at 10:33 a.m.
Right, and the next item on the agenda is going to be invocation. Sorry, the next item on the agenda is invocation. That's going to be led by Pastor Cody Kargas from Maranatha Church, who's also our local police chaplain. Please stand.
Thank you, County Board Supervisors, for allowing us to do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Before I begin, let's just take a moment of silence as we remember our officers who, a year and 8 days ago, paid the ultimate sacrifice, Hunter and Emily. If you join me in prayer. Father God, we thank you for this day. Every day that you give us is truly a blessing. We thank you for the supervisors who are willing to care for our county. We live in a great county. I pray that you bless them, give them wisdom, and sometimes they need more than just the wisdom that they have, so they lean upon each other. And at times even need more than that. At times give them divine wisdom as they make decisions that best fits our county. Be with our farmers as they determine what to do with this unique winter that we really didn't have and the lack of moisture. Give those who are suffering economically because of the lack of snow. Help them find ways to meet ends. Lord, we lift up our law enforcement. We thank you for all the 7 departments that represent our county, the State Patrol, the game wardens who care for our county. Grant them safety, give them wisdom. We thank you for their families who see them every day go off to work, not knowing what they will face. Lord, we thank you for our leadership within law enforcement. We thank you for the chiefs, the captains, and the sheriff. May you bless them and keep them safe. And may we do all things that honor you. In your precious name, Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, I do have a couple special matters.
Go ahead, Jeff.
2 things, please. Number 1, there are some very nice and informative history books that the Chronotype has prepared. They're on the back table. There's extra ones. Please grab a couple and feel free to distribute them. Very informative. And second, just as a matter of personal safety, if you parked in the south parking lot, please walk in the crosswalk that's right directly south of the doors here. We've had some near misses since LaSalle Avenue's been closed, and we're trying to get everybody to stay in the crosswalk. Actually, as the weather's turned nicer, it's been a little worse. People have enjoyed the weather and been a little bit lackadaisical driving, so please be careful. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, we just had a quick software glitch. We are going to ask you to connect again and mark yourself present, please. Jim, can you mark yourself present? Yep, we just had a software glitch. It went between 2 meetings for some reason. All right, Jeff, you have everything for special matters and announcements done? Okay. All right, so now we're going to go to the next item on the agenda, and that is approving the agenda that was in front of you today.
Jess, I don't have my software doesn't allow me to press to speak.
Oh,
Could I say something?
yep, hold on 1 second, I'll just mark that for you. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we pull agenda item number 17, which relates to the campus. And the reason I'm asking that is because we only had one bidder. I don't know if that's fair to the taxpayers to just have one bid, especially when the resolution kind of gives our high side of what we'd take. So Jeff and I have done a lot of talking on this with Steve Olson as well as Abby up at the campus. And so right now, tomorrow, the bids are going to be one bid will be opened. Depending on what that is, we may have a special meeting on April 22nd at 10 a.m. to discuss that. So I guess what we're really saying, if it's a reasonable bid, all the reasons that we voted to do this at exec and the other committees to get this done before we have a hard winter and something busts and we can't fix it, we'd go forward. But if we've got an unreasonable bid, is it fair to our taxpayers to just take a high one because we only have one? So we're going to rely on the expertise of Steve Olson and Jeff French, and the chair, whoever the chair is, will be involved in that as well. And so I guess I'm making a motion that we pull that from the agenda for now.
Okay, hold on one moment because that is actually an amendment, so let me put that in there for you.
My software doesn't have like you where it says request to speak. I don't get to do that, so. Which my wife would love. Yeah, I know, maybe.
Okay, so we have, Louis made the motion, and it looks like, looks like Marv beat me to a Louis doing it. So Marv made the motion, Bob seconded the motion, and now we're gonna vote on the amendment. And the amendment would be to remove number 17 on the agenda, the resolution authorizing an expenditure not to exceed 2 million for the purpose of installing new underground heating, ventilation, and cooling piping at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, Barron County campus. So now you should be able to go ahead and vote. All right, and that passed with 29 yes, 0 no. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to vote on actually approving the amended agenda now. So go ahead and vote on that, please. All right, and that passed with 29 yes and 0 no. All right, the next item on the agenda is going to be the introduction of the new supervisors in alphabetical order. You've got 2 minutes to introduce yourself to the rest of the board, and we'll start with Charles Bergeson.
My name's Charles Bergeson. I live in Turtle Lake. I will be in District 8, around the Turtle Lake area. I've grown up in Barron County my entire life. The only time I was gone was 4 years in the Navy. Came back, moved to Turtle Lake 8 years ago. 3 kids, started up my own business doing utility locating at the beginning of the year. So probably a little crazy for doing this, plus trying to start a new business, but I was talked into it by my sister-in-law who works at the Clerk of Courts. And I've been around politics with my parents. My mother was on the Barron County Republican Committee. My grandfather was on town board for Rice Lake for a long time. So I've been around it my entire life. Hoping for a good venture here and learn some new things and kind of be more involved in the community.
And next we have Dennis Jenkins.
I'm Dennis Jenkins. I'm from Cumberland. I've been involved in town politics most of my life, grew up with it. So when I was asked if I would run for this position, I figured I maybe learn something else too. I'm a town supervisor, and so it's just another step forward, I guess, in trying to help our community and keep everything's moving forward. Thank you.
And next we have Amanda Conan.
I'm Amanda Conan. I'm from the Chautauqua area. I have 4 grown children, 8 grandchildren. We owned a utility locating business, my husband and I, for about 18 years, which we sold to our son about 6 years ago, and he has grown the business a lot in that time. I've been a registered nurse for about 14 years. And I've mostly worked in home care. I did some pediatric home care and then more elderly, which I prefer working with the elderly population. I now also specialize in foot care. I have my own business doing that. This is my first time running for any elected office. It's been interesting so far, just even the campaigning part. If you have always run unopposed, you're really missing out. I wanted to do this because our form of government was set up with the intention for citizens to be involved in all levels, and I realized that I needed to be more involved. And my intention is to be a voice for the people of Prairie Lake Township and for our constitutional and God-given freedoms and rights.
And next, we have Pete Schneider.
Hi, I'm Pete Schneider. Born and raised in Rice Lake, so I've lived there forever. Married my wife, had to bring her up from Iowa. So we've been married for 44 years. I own a construction business, which I started in 1980, and still working that to present. I have 2 adult children. My son is a full-time firefighter with the city of Rice Lake. My daughter is a financial analyst with Minnesota Power. Been a little bit involved in town government. Was asked to run for this position. They thought that I would be a good fit, and so time will tell if I'm a good fit. So thank you very much.
Well, welcome to our 4 new supervisors. All right, the next item on the agenda is going to be approving the minutes from March 18th, 2024. We've got a motion by Langman and a second by Heller. Any questions or concerns? All right, we'll go ahead and vote on that. All right, that one passed with 29 yes and 0 no. The next item on the agenda is public comment, and I don't believe we had any for this meeting. So that will be easy to move on to the next item. And we are currently at the election of elective positions for County Board Chair, County Board Vice Chair, County Board Second Vice Chair, and the Highway Committee. And Corp Counsel Minch will give us an explanation of that, and then we'll get started.
Okay, good morning. The chair, first vice chair, and second vice chair are elected every 2 years at the reorganizational session. That's today. We'll start out with the chair, and then the first vice chair, then the second vice chair. They're going to be nominated by ballot, and they may speak for not more than 5 minutes. They will be chosen in that order, chair first, and then down the line. If there's more than 2 candidates appear on the ballot, then the 2 top vote getters will have a runoff election. So now for the leadership, it's by secret ballot, so you don't have to initial it. And so that's the process we're going to do those 3 positions. Then we're going to move on to the Highway Committee, and that's a little different. That one, you cannot have a secret ballot. You have to initial that ballot, or you have to initial that, your vote, your ballot. And if you don't, then it won't be counted. So prior to the election for the Highway Committee, any member who wishes to run for that can self-nominate from the floor. You'll be given 5 minutes to explain why you want to be on the Highway Committee. Then there's going to be a written and initial ballot from the entire county board. Each ballot will be for all 5 unfilled positions. If more than 5 candidates appear on the ballot, the top 5 candidates receiving the most votes shall be elected. So we changed that 2 years ago after multiple balloting. So that's a little bit different. But for right now, we're going to start with the chair. And so we're going to do a nomination by ballot for chair.
And how many people can we nominate?
You can nominate 29.
Okay. And Wendy and Deanne are handing out that ballot. And then once you're done with that one, please fold it in half, and Wendy and Deanne will come and grab it back from you. And then I just need you to be a little bit patient with us because everything's done on paper ballot, and we will have to compile the results, and we will go from there.
What? No, each person can nominate 1, but there can be up to 20. I mean, if you all nominated yourself, you'd have 29 of you on there, but you can only nominate 1 per.
John, can I go around and pick them up after they voted now?
Sure.
Okay.
One person, 1 vote. You don't have to initial it.
You have to go south of the border to vote twice. Just say.
South of the Barron County border?
Oh, no.
That might be an invitation.
You've got them? There's a couple here.
Right. You can get them off and speak. can go around and ask each one.
Did that go to you? It is. I did that yesterday. Okay. I didn't realize it sent everything to everybody. Nobody else said anything.
It went to everybody.
I don't know. I didn't specifically ask for you.
You guys can take this spot over here.
Okay, we can start.
I can join. I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't like
Yeah, it's a real.
official.
But you don't need to join it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just to translate like this. Testing. This is how they do it in the big cities, and then they destroy all the ballots, so no one knows if it was real or not. And then they put their own numbers next to it, and then it's done. Oh, I'm sorry, we shredded those. Sorry, my mistake. Well, I want to find something that I know is going to work, and then we'll roll it out as a test for people that are not unsavvy. She'll have plenty of other stuff to do.
Oh, okay. But it'll help her out.
Yeah, I mean, she'll, yeah.
Don't have to be counted.
I would imagine.
Okay. Gotcha.
She doesn't have to do anything extra, and the cop doesn't have to do anything extra.
Okay, after those were tallied up, receiving nominations were Supervisor Cook and Supervisor Oki.
I decline.
Okay. Supervisor Oki? We could move at this point, since he is the only one interested in the position, to cast a unanimous ballot.
I will move to cast a unanimous ballot for Louis Oki as chair.
Second.
Who is my second? Thanks. All right, and that's not on here, so I'm gonna need to, I'm just gonna do, you want hand vote, or do you want? We could do a voice vote, so all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. So we will now have
Congratulations, Louis.
Chair Oki come up there. For vice chair.
Hey, just keep in mind your speaker thing doesn't work on your computer.
All right, and now I'm going to be printing off the ballots for the vice chair, so just give me a few minutes to get that ready.
No, you don't.
Starts right away.
Thank you for your faith in me. I really appreciate that, and really respect this board, and I love Barron County, and you guys people are doing a great job, so thank you, and I'll do the best job I can.
All right, I'm officially handing over the rest of the meeting to Chair Oki, and I'll just be an assistant at this point.
Good job, Jess.
You're going to nominate for the first vice chair position. So she's passing out a nomination sheet. Pick one. Each of you get to vote for one person to nominate for first vice chair.
Who's currently the vice chair? Carolyn Bartlett is first vice chair, and Von Hansen is second vice chair. Yeah, actually, no. Yeah, John, technically, nobody's first vice chair right now. Carolyn was.
Anybody else still have a ballot?
Small ones. Yeah.
Anybody's stupid enough to purposely do something with this wind, drives me crazy.
Today would.
Tonight.
Today.
I was watching the news the other evening, weatherman. I would consider changing your plans if you're wanting to burn anything in your yard, and I thought, the heck are you even bringing that up? You should be saying, no one should be burning, not if you're thinking about it.
With 45-mile-an-hour winds, we could be.
So are you gonna be talking about this at all now that all this whole?
Yeah. Yeah.
From a barometric standpoint.
Yeah.
we'd have- And we're still going. But if the ground was soft right now.
Yeah.
Oh, 45-mile.
Yeah.
I actually live 2 blocks down that road.
So is it back to Dale's spot?
Yes.
So is Pete over there.
Is he?
So is that.
Wow. He struck gold on that. He struck gold on that election. Yeah. Yeah.
Is Turcotte on property?
No. No. Yeah, one of them should be. Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what we screw up.
Right.
We put people that.
Okay, we have these 5 nominations for Barron County Vice Chair. Receiving nominations were Carolyn Bartlett, Randy Cook, Audrey Kuslik, Von Hansen, and Stacy Wenzel.
I respectfully decline.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So that leaves us with Carolyn Bartlett and Stacy Wenzel. So I will go ahead and get those ballots ready. If Carolyn wants to take a few minutes and then Stacy a few minutes just to discuss why you're interested.
Can I start? I can start. My name is Carolyn Bartlett. I was born and raised in Barron County. I've lived here all my life. Have husband, 2 daughters, 5 granddaughters. So we're used to lots of fun things with the granddaughters in the family. My background is I've been in medical for 30 years, and I've been in banking for 25 years. So I started out in banking, then decided to make a move and move forward. This is my 13th, started my 13th term on the county board. I was vice chair last year. I've chaired the Health and Human Services Board nearly all of my terms. I've been on a lot of other boards, including ADRC, Strategic Planning, Executive Committee. I really had an opportunity this last year to do some subbing on the zoning and Board of Adjustment, which has been extremely interesting. So in addition to that, I just want to say a little bit, I'm on the town board, our town board. I've been the clerk for our town board, and so have had the opportunity to see a different side of that venture. And I've done that for many, many years, participating with the elections and just the regular bookkeeping and functions of town government. So I've enjoyed my time with town government. Probably the last few years I've been on the Strategic Planning Committee, which has been extremely interesting in that we're looking to the future as to, what should we have in Barron County and so on. My endeavor is to work with the individuals I represent in the county and to be sure that I represent their wishes and also, the bigger piece of it, keep Barron County moving forward, but keeping us fiscally responsible. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Stacy Wenzel. This is the beginning of my third term as County Board Supervisor. I've served on the Commission on Aging and Health and Human Service committees and the Library Committee for a short stint. I have 2 grown children, 22 and 20, that I schooled all the way through high school. I currently work at Maranatha Evangelical Free Church in Rice Lake with Pastor Cody, who did our invocation. And I also do chaplaincy work in the area with him whenever there's female subjects involved. We do a great deal of that and work with the homeless community a lot in our community. You'd be surprised at how many people are without homes in our community. So I'm a big promoter of housing and getting people on their feet also, and being personally responsible for their choices in their lives. I'm involved in local politics and supporting parties. I really have loved it these last couple years being involved. I didn't think I would. I was actually encouraged by my pastor to run, and I'm really loving it. I kind of wasn't expecting to do this morning, so I'm not a big promoter of self. I like to listen to people and chat with people and get their opinions, and I really try to be unbiased and take in all accounts and do my best job to make the best decision for the community as a whole. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say to promote myself, I guess, this morning. I would appreciate your vote. I have a great deal of respect for Carolyn, though, so I don't even want to make eye contact with her. But don't let that sway your vote. I would still appreciate it.
All right, the ballots are out. Please only vote for one, and when you're done, please raise it up, and then we'll have Deanna or Wendy collect it, and we'll tally the votes.
Who's on highway last year? What? Who's on highway last year? Marv? And- Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Marv and, I don't know.
Krug is probably in. Krug.
don't know. No. Mm. Yeah, he's pretty quiet.
You should be on.
You know, I enjoyed talking with her. I really enjoyed talking with her.
And I'm sorry for the people online. Jess informed me that I didn't have my mic on. I didn't know anybody was listening to me or had anything intelligent to say, but it's on now, so.
Oh, really?
Really?
Nice.
Okay, so receiving the majority of votes for vice chair was Carolyn Bartlett. So Carolyn was elected to the vice chair.
Thank you, everyone. I'll do my very best to represent the group. Thank you.
Congratulations, and thanks, Stacy, for running, and better luck next year, I guess.
All
Nope.
right, the next position that we're going to be getting ballots created for is going to be the second vice chair.
Hey, did you ever get hold of Harry Cool to see if he wanted? He doesn't want anything? Huh?
Have a good conversation.
Yeah. Okay. That's too bad.
And just a reminder that this is also going to be a vote for one, and you do not need to initial this one. This one is also a secret ballot.
I don't know why that is. It's different state rules.
Got a little mood lighting in here all of a sudden.
Pay the electric bill. I'm guessing it has to do with the old state. You know, when the counties were formed, the majority were. It's like the townships are now. So they had special rules and stuff. Because the highway department was the king. That was before we had to go. Yep. Now it's social services. It's the king. You know?
But when you take a look at what the highway department is saying, they still spend.
Oh, yeah.
Shut the lights.
But they make
There's a lot of hot bodies.
technically.
Right. When you take a look at.
Yeah. Yep, it's hard to get it regulated.
If you're upgrading, you stop the grade and eat yourself.
How did you think that's done?
Yep.
You do.
I agree 100%.
A lot of stuff. Man, I thought. I'm pulling that.
I thought the commissioner was gonna be here.
We're at a go or no go
Right. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna say.
Well, ask John. See if he can answer. Ask John. Mention, see if he can answer.
money for 5 years, you have to sit for 5 to 7 years. How are you gonna justify that to the
You know, I
That's their
don't,
choice.
I don't feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. No, that was the issue we had. It took so long.
Okay, we have those tallied up and receiving nominations for second vice chair in no particular order were Supervisor Gores, Supervisor Wenzel, Supervisor Olson, Supervisor Hanson, Supervisor Cook, and Supervisor Vaughn. Is any,
I respectfully decline.
okay.
I'll respectfully decline also.
Pete, okay. And you as well? Okay. All right, then for placement on the second vice chair ballot, I have Jim Gores, Stacy Wenzel, and Bun Hanson. If you give me just a few moments, I'll be getting the ballot ready, and then those three can speak.
Stacy decline?
I think she had Dan on there.
Okay, what else can I say? I can say that they did not count the mail-in ballots the last time. I'm joking. Congratulations, Carolyn. I would really like to be involved on a higher level because I feel like I have come to know a lot in these last couple years. When I first, my first term was during COVID, and we had to all sit separately. So even we sat in the audience because we had to be 6 feet apart. And because I homeschooled my children, I brought my son here. He was about 14 or 15 at the time as part of civics. I wanted him to learn how this structure works because so many kids nowadays have no idea. And I made him sit through some meetings, and his first meeting, he leaned over to me. Now, granted, this is my first time in government, in politics also. And he leaned over to me and he said, "Is it bad that I only know about 60% of what's happening here?" And I thought that as a freshman in high school that was pretty darn good. I said, "Actually, you could tell me a couple things maybe because I am just trying to keep up." So I was impressed with that. And that's another thing that I think is very important to our community is getting our young people involved in knowing how our government structure actually works. So many of them have no clue. So that's a really important thing to me. Haven't run for school board, but considered it this last time. I have nothing else to say. Thank you for your consideration, and I also have a great deal of respect for the other people that are running.
Well, thank you for the nomination vote. The first plank in my platform is to get that pie thing started again. I've had the honor of being second vice chair for a couple terms, and Louis is a busy guy, and he has appointed me to some duties outside of this building to help him out, and I'm learning a lot about what goes on the Workforce Development Committee and Momentum West and Northwoods Tech and things like that. Being on the executive committee, we basically taste some things before the county board gets to chew them up and spit them out and vote on them. And I think that's a good way to keep the process running. And I think I've done a good job, and I would like to continue being your second vice chair. Thank you.
I'm Jim Gores. I'm District 9. I would like to do this job. I have been served on like the Turtle Lake School Board there in the 90s there. I was president there for three terms, or 3 years, excuse me. And then also I've been on the county board here now for, I believe this is my 6th term or 7th term. And so anyhow, I'm on the highway committee and stuff like that. And so I'm pretty interested in the executive part. I'm not on the executive committee at this time, but anyhow, I guess I would like your support. Thank you.
All right, and Wendy and Deanna are going to go around like they have in the last few rounds, and you can go ahead and vote for one person. This is also a unanimous ballot, so you do not need to sign that, and then just raise your hand once you're done voting.
And just so you know that if, when there's more than 2 people on the ballot, the 2 top vote getters have a runoff election. So the 2 top people will then run against each other for a majority vote.
We're not going to arm wrestle. No arm wrestle.
Bills like everybody else. With her, we don't pay. That's right. No, I agree with that. So you may be prepared to say some stuff. You. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah? Okay. I mean, I just think.
All right, do we have everyone's ballots?
Got it.
All right.
Right. It's by statute or something. Yeah. 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 In fact, Andy Phillips just had a seminar on rules and procedures, and that was one of the things he hit up on. And I thought, shit, we do a secret ballot. But then I realized that they do have to initial it, so. Yes. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, we're violators. Yeah, I'd get rid of that if it was up to me.
Did he know?
Yeah. It's open meeting laws.
Really?
Okay, we have those tallied up. And the 2 that were on the ballot in no specific order that received the most votes were Bun Hansen and Stacy Wenzel. So now I'll be doing another ballot, and you'll be choosing between one of those for your second vice chair.
I hope not. Nope. Yeah. Yeah.
Your mom and dad are drunk and they're wrong.
All right, is there anybody that we did not grab their ballot from yet? All right, thank you. All right, we have those votes tallied up now, and the second vice chair ballot, Bun Hanson had one more vote than Stacy, so he is our second vice chair. All right, next step is going to be the Highway Committee, and we'll have Minch go through that one more time.
So just for a reminder, on the Highway Committee, you're going to have, you can go around and self-nominate and then speak to why you want to be on that committee. There's 5 positions. So you will be given a ballot for all the folks that have been nominated for that. You vote for, each ballot will be for all 5 unfilled positions. If there's more than 5 candidates, the top 5 vote getters will be elected. So when you get your ballot, you should vote for, you can vote for up to 5 people.
But you don't have to vote for 5?
Well, our rules, it says each ballot will be for all 5 unfilled positions, but if you don't vote for all 5, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. So it said, the rules say to vote for 5, and you need to initial it. So if you don't initial your ballot, it will not be counted. Because under the open meeting law, you can't have a secret ballot. So.
I listened to a seminar by Andy Phillips with the Tollus Law, and he talked about rules and procedures and board matters, and he specifically mentioned this about the highway, that you can't be a secret ballot. And I thought, we don't do it that way, but we do. So,
So the Highway Committee is works with the Highway Commissioner to run all the decisions for equipment, road repair, plowing, and under the statute, that's the one committee that's required to be elected. So 20 years ago, we had 3 elected committees. We had the Agricultural Committee, Social Services Committee, and Highway. And a number of years back, we eliminated the other 2. They're just appointed now, appointed committees. But we still have to have the Highway Committee as an elected committee. And Randy's got a questioning look on his face, so I'll try to clarify that.
Again, clarify, and you already touched it, it's up to 5. The
Up to
rules don't
5.
say to vote for 5.
The rules say each ballot will be for all 5 unfilled positions.
Correct.
So it doesn't say you have to vote for 5, but that's the intent, so.
Lance?
You got it.
So, yeah.
All right, so now is the time you would turn your mic on and just announce if you'd like to self-nominate and then give a reason why you're interested in serving on the committee.
I'm Jim Gores. I've been on the Highway Committee here now for 2 terms before this. I serve right now as the Vice Chair for the Highway Committee. This is one of the things that I've been very interested in, even when I was town chairman for the town of Clinton for 18 years. But because you're mainly working with the roads and stuff like that there, that's kind of the main things that you work on there for the towns. But anyhow, I've been very interested in, and I really enjoyed the working for the County Highway Committee. So I would like your support.
I guess I'll go next. I'd like to nominate myself for the Highway Committee. It's the committee that I'm most interested in being on because I retired from that field for 40 years of work. So this would be my second term if I'm voted in. Thank you.
And Marv, I believe you on that?
Yeah, I'm Marv Thompson. I've been on the Highway Committee for a long time. And right now, I am currently chair. I've been on the Wisconsin County Highways Association Board of Directors for about 14, 15 years now. I am currently chair for the state of Wisconsin. This is my second term, and I've been on the executive committee, and I'd like to continue. Actually, the highway, when I first got on there, we were talking about building a new highway building, and that's been 20 years ago. And I'd like to finish this out. I think is going to be my last term. I think I'm finally going to throw in the towel if I make it this long. So I'd like your support. Thank you.
Punky or Supervisor Mosentin?
Hi, I'm Roberta Mosentin, but everybody says my name is Punky. They don't really ever know my first name. Anyways, I have been on the county board 10 years. I've been on highway for 4 years, and I love it. And I'll tell you, I do like working with men. Thank you.
Oh, yay. Pete, or Supervisor Olson, I mean.
Pete Olson, I represent about half the city of Barron, and I've been on the county board for, this will be starting my 6th year. I was appointed to fill an open position. Prior to this, I was on the county board from 2006 to 2012, so I've got 11 years of experience. I've always been interested in the highway committee. I have not run for the committee in the past. The reason I am now is I spent the last 3 years on the highway building facility committee and learned quite a bit about the operation of the highway department. And I'd like to really build on that and bring that knowledge to the bear for the benefit of the county. Also, I'm a member of the Barron City Council, and I sit on the street committee, and so I have a bit of an appreciation for the work that the county does with the other governmental bodies in Barron County, the cities, villages, and townships. And I'd like to see that continue. I'm sure it will, but I believe I can bring a different insight to that. So I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Supervisor Jenkins.
I'd like to join the Highway Committee. I have worked with our township for 30-some years as a part-time employee, so I understand a little bit about how the road work is taken care of, the equipment. I think Barron County does a really good job, and I'd like to join and try to continue that the roads are one thing that every taxpayer in our county sees, and they see where their dollars go. So I'd like your vote. Thank you.
Anyone else interested? It looks like we've got Supervisor Gores, Supervisor Efforts, Supervisor Thompson, Supervisor Mosenteen, Supervisor Olson, and Supervisor Jenkins.
I shut this down. What did we vote on? Hmm?
You can vote for up to 5. The top 5 candidates receiving the most votes will be elected, and do not forget to initial your ballot.
You slam dunk. This will be, no problem. I can.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, we're on the TV. We were. Oh, there we go. Oh, excuse me.
Now, what I'm gonna say is, the objection to Barron County applying for this program on April 19th, 2024, is approved, allowing the first reading. But they wouldn't go forward if we didn't. That's why I want to see who's out here against it.
Okay, look at what we got to do. We got lots to do yet.
If you have a few minutes and you could fill out your committee sheet, the green one, let me know if it's ready and I can take those.
Some green sheet, she said.
I didn't get one either. Well,
Oh, there it is.
I think they had one in my bag. Of course, if I wasn't sure. I
We're
would
supposed to
have.
fill out.
There's nothing we want to be.
I'd like to vote after I decide if I get on anything.
Yeah.
I'm on law enforcement.
You know who's out there next to Ryan on Ryan's left? Oh. Oh, Mike, sure. Yeah,
I was on regional planning, so I don't want to do on that
that's
again.
right, he's giving us a presentation too.
Politics, solid waste.
By Pick 1223. Yes, yeah, I would think he would be. You know who the woman is next to Marge Yost?
I don't.
Do we have to sign this? I suppose we have to put our name on it, huh?
Yost on the left.
Yeah. I was looking at the bottom, but it has it at the top this time.
Oh.
How
She's
many
probably just
votes
here
we gonna vote?
watching
Serving
daughter.
1, 3, being in your,
Man
yeah,
calling
it-
tomorrow.
I can't be on, if I stay on highway and sheriff, I can't be on anything else. So they say. I didn't know that.
Was it last meeting that we pushed the highway or the housing to May of 2025? Yep. It was last meeting, okay.
Ready to speak. Just get ready to speak. Why did mine go? Oh, I got shut mine off.
You know, is Jess planning on taking pictures of the new supervisors? He should. Yeah. Jess, are you planning on taking pictures of the new supervisors today? Yes? Oh, you did already? Geez, are you efficient? Well, can't you get them up over here then?
We're going to do a stretch exercise. Have a second. All right, we've tallied the votes. We tallied them numerous times, and we do have a tie. So receiving the majority of the votes was Bill Efforts, Punky Mosentine, Pete Olson. Was it Pete? Know what I'm saying that? and Marv Thompson. So we will be doing a runoff ballot between Jim Gores and Dennis Jenkins.
Yeah, ballot will be coming around for Supervisor Gores and Supervisor Jenkins, and just vote for one, and remember to sign it.
If anyone has their committee assignments done, one supervisor's already handed them in, I'll walk around and pick them up. I'm not pressuring you to do it, okay? I'll just walk around now and pick them up. Can I peek at yours right now? Okay. Okay, all right.
All right, one for a more friendly reminder, you are voting for one and you do need to initial this one.
Nope, that would be under prep. Yep. Yep. Louis, I'm gonna go take these, put a bolt up and put them on Wendy's desk, so you know where they're at. Just so if anybody asks, so you know as chair where they are.
All right, we've got the tally for the Highway Committee, the vote for one ballot. Dennis Jenkins won that one, so he will be placed on the Highway Committee.
Okay, to continue with the agenda, item number 11, the zoning ordinance amendment, rezoning the town of Stanley at Veterans-Owned Properties LLC. Got to get a motion to approve that. Motion by Supervisor Cook, seconded by Supervisor Banks. Is there any discussion or concerns or questions on that rezoning? Seeing none, let's vote. See, I don't see what you see, so I, just a look. I asked him to roll on zoning, and housing came up. There's no vote there.
Did we get the highway elected?
Yeah.
So who did? Who's it?
Jenkins. Yeah, Boris didn't make it. Yeah, because it wasn't the old agenda either.
No. 13, Housing Authority is 13 presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And there's really no vote on it either. Housing.
We're trying to problem solve as we go through here because some of you are seeing the rezoning town of Stanley. Who is seeing something with housing authority? Everybody. No, that's not. When I hit vote, do you see rezoning on there? Can you mute whoever that is?
I could tell jokes.
That's all right.
Tell you Ronald Reagan joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to declare recess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, Supervisor Banks had an excellent idea. Well, it's 10:25. Let's take a break for 10 minutes. So see you back at 10:35.
Please don't talk about anything on the agenda, what's happened or what's going to happen. This is a break, no caucusing. Please just take a break, but no talking about anything. That's coming next. We were hoping you were going to have pie.
Bob, I see Tom is online.
It is 10:45, so we'll call the county board meeting back into order. And we'll have item number 11, the zoning ordinance amendment, rezoning Town of Stanley Veteran-Owned Properties LLC. And did we have a motion and a second, didn't we, on that? Or who was the motion by Cook, seconded by Banks? Okay. And is there any further discussion or? Correct. Any further discussion or questions? Yeah, everything, you know, you can just about close your book down if you want to, but anyway, so no, I seeing no further items or concerns. All those in favor of approving that amendment indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Yeah, motion's carried. Then we'll go on to item number 12, presentation on the broadband infrastructure grants, Mosaic Technology, Deanne Westfall. Yep. Dan, did you get the mic on there for?
Thank you, Kathy.
And I believe you handed out a pamphlet to everyone?
I did. Did everyone receive a packet?
Yep.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Congratulations. This is an exciting day to be a part of. My name is Deanna Westfall. I am the Public Relations Manager with Mosaic Technologies. And Mosaic Technologies is an active participant in broadband initiatives within your county. I just wanted to provide you a brief update today. In your packet on the left-hand side is a letter. Talks about the economic growth and development, the work and educate from home opportunities and telehealth access. About the middle, in the first part of your paragraph there, it does say Mosaic Technologies has applied for the Wisconsin PSC Capital Projects Fund grant. It is a program to provide access to broadband for the underserved and unserved communities. And I am excited to tell you that out of our 6 grants, all 6 of them have been awarded and 3 of them within your Gray County. They are the townships of Barron, Maple Grove, Prairie Lake, Rice Lake Township, and Doyle. We're currently working with the townships just to give them information about what that construction process looks like. The PSC has told us that we initially had a end of date by 2027, and they have now changed that to November 2026. That's exciting. We will do our best to get all 6 of them done and completed on time. We have an excellent track record of being ahead of schedule on many of our projects. And so we are confident that we'll take care of that. Within your packet on the left-hand side is our letter of appreciation. I just want to talk a little bit about the last line of the first paragraph. In early March, the Wisconsin PSC approved our applications. We were awarded $7,889,196 of the $15.5 million total cost of construction. Mosaic Technologies will contribute $7.69 million towards the broadband investment for Barron County communities. I am so excited to be at the helm of communications and talking with the county and talking with all of the townships. If you have any questions, just let me know. On the right-hand side of your packet, more information about what we're actually marketing to the communities in our communication efforts. You'll notice right here is our fiber construction process. Tells you a little bit about the actual process of what is happening, when is it happening, and what are the cues. In the first part of our construction process is engineering and design work and signing up for fiber. In engineering and design work, we really want to get it right the first time out. Once the PSC has contracts with our company, we will then work on the engineer grant footprints and design efforts and which locations we will work on first. Right now, we are not going to be able to do anything before mid-May, only because contracts have not been signed yet. So we're not starting yet, but we will be shortly. The next is marking utilities. People get very excited when we start marking utilities. We're not putting on the broadband yet, and we're not lighting anyone up yet, just flagging. Then we do mainline construction. Mainline construction is the actual fiber that goes into the ground, and off of the main line, you will get dedicated drops to the different households. You're not getting fiber yet when we're doing the mainline construction, not yet. Then you'll notice that during mainline construction, we have boring and placing conduit, laying the mainline fiber, drops to the premises, and then the most important part, splicing and testing. During that time, splicing and testing, we verified that people are able to then begin lighting up. We hope to help serve the Barron County communities, and we look forward to the opportunity to further our partnership with the county. Any questions today? Yes.
So a couple of years ago, there was discussion of fiber being rolled out in Rice Lake, and I see that's on here. Barron was mentioned. Are these projects going to impact the timeline for other communities?
So Barron proper and Rice Lake proper, the towns, the cities, those are self-funded projects that we are currently working through. It has been designed that during the Barron project and the Rice Lake project that we would try and work in some self-funded opportunities there. So my job would then be to communicate with the Barron and Rice Lake cities about when we're constructing. So it self-funded opportunities are not part of the grant work, but we will continue to work it in as we can.
Any other questions? Not? Thanks, Jan, and thank you, your company. You've been a good partner with us all along the way, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, item number 13, presentation on Barron County Housing Authority, Bob Kazmersky. Hey, Bob. I don't know if Tom's still here. He's been on there a long time.
Yes, this on? Yep. Is the remote capabilities still online? Okay.
Yep. Hi, Tom.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for the opportunity to present. I'm here on behalf of the Barron County Housing Authority. My name's Bob Kazmersky. I'm the Barron County Housing Authority Executive Director. Online, we have Tom Landgraf. He's our developer. I'm here primarily to talk about some good news, a new development, and I believe County Administrator Jeff French put this in your packet or sent it in a subsequent email. There is a new, unique, unprecedented funding opportunity from WHEDA. This is a one-time loan program to assist shovel-ready public housing authority rehabilitation projects. One of the great things about this is the timing. As you all know, and for some of our new supervisors, the Barron County Housing Authority is about to embark on a 70-unit rehabilitation project throughout all of our sites in Barron County. And we're really excited about this particular opportunity. If awarded, what we plan to do is use it to subsidize our first mortgage, or in other words, our long-term debt, which represents roughly about 23% of the total project cost. It's a low-interest loan over 35 years. And so this is a really good and beneficial program to help us being the Barron County Housing Authority, with our debt service. The first round is just right around the corner. Actually, it's due this Friday, April 19th. Both myself and again, our developer, Tom Landgraf, feel it's important and advantageous to apply and apply early. There isn't a lot of funds. There is a lot. $11 million is a lot of funds, but if you look throughout Wisconsin, well, heck, nationwide, housing is a big issue and it is a high priority. So we are committed and prepared to apply in this first round and hopefully secure this this low interest loan. One of the things that differentiates our project with other projects throughout the state is we are shovel ready. As you all know, bids have been opened. We have a pending 4% low income housing tax credit application. We've also secured roughly 57% of the total project costs through grants and housing tax credits. So again, just wanted to share all this with you. We do plan on applying, and I just will kind of leave it at that. Tom can provide some more context if needed, and I can answer some questions as well.
Well, we've got 4 new supervisors here today, and I know this is a lot of information to pile on you today, but basically, we'd had the project that Bob is talking about approved, several motions to go forward, but we did have a second look at it by SEH, and at last month, we decided to push this project back until May of 2025. So we thought then Bob and Tom came up with a new plan to basically separate some of the houses. The housing that's in the cities gets a little better scoring opportunities than the ones in urban. And so we thought we'll try this new venue. Well, since that time, I believe Jeff has sent out all this information to everyone. And basically what it's telling is the 9% we thought we might get versus 4. Tom has indicated there's only about a 30% chance of that happening. As you probably read or see, it seems like the rate cuts are retreating daily. That was another factor we thought we'd come after. And the biggest one is HUD's position, how they view this thing. And this is a very complicated project. And that's what some of the confusion is the higher costs that go into it. But the bottom line is a lot of times HUD's putting that money in for us there. And Bob's last memo to us, what was that put out yesterday? That one, in my mind, doesn't leave us any room to go forward with that two-pronged project that we were thinking about. So in my mind, we're at a decision point here that we either go forward with our original plan now with the enhancements that we have. When HUD and we did cold call you and say, hey, we got money and you got a shovel-ready project, that's pretty good news. That's our highway department has operated on that kind of thinking in the past. That's why we have a lot of projects shovel-ready in the highway, so when the money's available, we're ready. And that opportunity is the way I told Bob. I think it's kind of like manna from heaven just fell down on us to help us out of this project. So what I'm going to ask for later, after we have some questions, we can't really have, it's not on the agenda to make a motion to do anything, but I'm going to ask you this, so we can still talk about it. But any objection to Barron County Housing Authority applying for this program on 4/19/24, which is 3 days from now, and if approved, allowing the first WIDA Barron County Housing Authority application to proceed. So, and what I'm really asking you is that can we go back to where we were before with all the good information we have now and let them apply? Because there's 3 application dates, and if we wait till May to decide this, 2 of those dates are gone, and probably the money too. So, we have any questions? Supervisor Cook?
So if I understand correctly, this would potentially lower your overall debt at the end of this project?
Right. Right now, we have to, as part of the funding package is we'll have to take out our first mortgage. And right now, that's at about $3.8 million. Now, that debt will be serviced by us, the Barron County Housing Authority. And we have been able to work with HUD to determine the future subsidy after these improvements are made. We'll be receiving more subsidy for rental assistance, which will help us cash flow and service this debt. So the problem is twofold. We're anticipating interest rates going down as the year goes on. It's an election year, things of that nature. But earlier last week, the inflation report came out, and it's highly unlikely, or it's less likely, interest rates will be lowered to help us when we do finally close on this first mortgage. So in other words, this program, this new program that's rolled out by WIDA, this will be used to subsidize or reduce the amount of long-term debt that we'll have to take. In other words, we'll probably have this note because it is a 35, it's a loan, and we'll still have to do a first mortgage, but rather than it being 3.8 million, it'll be reduced by the amount that we can secure from WIDA. Does that make sense? And did I answer your question,
Right, so at the
Supervisor Pugh?
end, your 3.2, what is your best projection that debt, that from the 3.8?
3.8 is where it sits right now,
Right.
yes.
And what is if this is secured and the application is submitted and it actually is approved, what will be that 3.8? Will it be 2, 1, 0?
I can't really answer that right now. This is a brand new program. Tom has communicated with WIDA a little bit. I will say that WIDA has reached out to me to encourage us to apply because this, again, unprecedented program is to help PHAs who are in the middle of a rehabilitation project, try to help them incentivize and get us over the finish line. Tom, do you have any idea what potentially we could secure through this program to help bring down our long-term debt?
Well, there's really three pieces of funding that that are going to come into play here to ultimately, at the end of the day, when the music stops playing, have a lower high-cost debt load. The first 2 pieces you've already talked about at several of the meetings, county board meetings, and those are federal grants for energy efficiency and also a reduction in the utility allowance. Both of those, if they are successful, will reduce the amount that has to be financed. In addition, now WIDA has brought on another program, and theirs is developed without really a lot of knowledge about how the federal grants that we're contemplating applying for work. So it's kind of a patchwork quilt, but obviously the more cash that can be put in the form of grants or very low-cost loans will ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal is to reduce the high cost, the 6.5% money that Bob was talking about before. So, until the music stops playing with the other 2 pieces, I can't really answer that. But the goal is certainly going to be to reduce the long-term debt load through application of some of this WIDA funds and these other grant funds. So.
Just for the benefit of the new supervisors, usually the housing authority is not really part of the Barron County. They are a standalone entity. But where we come in is that as part of our ARPA money that the feds gave us, we encumbered $3.5 million of our ARPA money to give to the Housing Authority to rehab these 70 units. Approximately 200,000 of that has been spent already, and by the housing and the board or Barron County has reimbursed them. So we have about 3.3 million of ARPA funds that are still encumbered, and they're to go to the Housing Authority as needed for the rehabilitation. That money is controlled by Jody and our finance department. Any disbursements that are requested by the Housing Authority have to be fully vetted and made sure that it's an appropriate use, and then Jody would release those funds. Is there anything I'm saying wrong, Jeff or Jody? Yeah. I think maybe Randy's ultimate question is going to be, is there any chance of those ARPA funds ultimately coming back to us?
Well, I wasn't there, but
Yeah, you know.
I do. So the bids are open. Are we still at that $17 million range?
Yes.
And with these $11 million, that's apparently new funding, is all 3.3 remaining ARPA dollars needed to make this go forward?
Yes, and primarily because those ARPA funds that were initially enabled and allocated for this project were part of the 4% LIHTC application. So in other words, they serve as matching funds or contributions, local contribution to the original 4% low-income housing tax credit application. So basically, and that represents 20% of the total project costs, which I've mentioned before. So we really welcome and encourage and hope that we can receive continued assurances from the county board here that those ARPA dollars will be available.
And again, for the new members, those funds were encumbered. It would take a 2/3 vote of this board to unencumber them. But that was a question that was asked before too, when we had the new application. If we unencumbered them, would that hamper the new application? And the answer was yes, it would. The new application wouldn't go forward. And now there's other reasons why that new application is not feasible anymore. So we're really back to, are we going to go ahead with a new project? And we're kind of under a time pressure, but it is the Housing's authority to go ahead and do this application, and I think they will on the 19th. The only control we would have is to unencumber those funds, which I personally am not supporting that at all, because we made a commitment to them for this project, and that was kind of what ARPA funds were initially designed for. So, continue to ask questions if you have them. I just would, ultimately, we can't make a motion to do anything, substantial here until next meeting. But what I'd like to find out, is there anybody that's against them going forward here? Because, that does matter to them in this project. Supervisor Vaughn.
I just have a question. I don't remember if it was at county board or if it was at executive, but we had talked, or somebody had talked about potentially reducing the cost by eliminating the brand new 2-car garages or some other items. Is that now off the table?
No, not necessarily. When we opened the bids, we discovered that it came in a lot higher than we had expected. And there's a lot of factors to that: supply chain, this emphasis to hire local contractors, et cetera. We still have the opportunity to defer costs. We have a pretty robust contingency fund that we could use to take on some of those pieces. But the most important thing is too, and this is one of the benefits of the delay, is again, the plethora of federal dollars coming to support renewable energy projects and initiatives. So that's another piece of this complex funding model is we now have the green light to look for some renewable energy grants that can subsidize some of the mechanicals like our HVAC, for example. That's an eligible project. So we're trying to figure it out. And to answer your question real quick, we have some flexibility about what to defer and what not to defer, but we're definitely committed to staying below or at budget because, again, a big portion of this project is long-term debt for us being a nonprofit. And so we have concerns about our debt service, and we don't want to go down that path to finding other efficiencies. And most importantly, we want to make sure the project is high quality. At the end of the day, we have housing throughout our 7 sites throughout Barron County that is high quality for not only today's low income, disabled, elderly, veterans, not only today, but for our future generations. And I think that's our focus.
I'm a numbers guy, so apologize. So 11 million, our 3.5 million is matched by whom?
I'm sorry?
When I look at this, the $11 million WIDA loan, our 3.5 million is matched by whom?
Well, I got some notes in front of me. Well, the low-income housing tax credits, again, that's for 15 years where we have a corporation buying our tax credits because it'll help them with their tax liability. So for 15 years, for them to use our tax credits, they're giving us roughly $5.4 million. There's also a tax credit equity that's based upon the energy. That is free money as well. That's nearly $300,000. The ARPA money at 3.5 subsidizes not only those tax credits, but also is a support matching fund for a successful 4% LIHTC application, or again, the tax credit piece. And then, we've mentioned this before. This is why it's so complicated, because we have a variety of other grants that are subsidizing this program, as well as other low-interest loans, including a nearly $500,000 home loan at 3% over 30 years, a $900,000 federal home loan bank grant, which, by the way, we have to draw down by October 13th of this year, fully draw down. There's the Capital Magnet Fund. That is a grant. That's a $300,000 grant that we've secured. And then the acquisition costs that the developers will pay to obtain the property is nearly $2.3 million. So it's a complex model, but the likelihood of us securing a 4% LIHTC application is much greater if you have a local match, and that's the power and the benefit of your ARPA allocation, what it means to our application. And Tom, you can join in if you have some more comments to make.
Thanks, Bob. As we've talked about in the past at a number of the county board meetings, all of the tax credit activity, including this $11 million grant program that WIDA has just announced, are all based on competition and points. And there are points in the basic tax credit application. There's 36 points out of 122 that are basically tied to the ARPA grant. WIDA gives points to any applicant who can show up with some evidence of local support. And the maximum number of points you can get in that category is 36, and we get them all because of the county's $3.5 million ARPA grant. If we are going to reduce that grant up front, we reduce those points, and then we get ourselves in a situation of not being able to score at all, and the whole thing unwinds. So and I want to make sure there's a number of 11 million knocking around. The WIDA program is 11 million. That's a statewide piece. There's no way in the world we could apply for all of that.
Okay.
You know, we're trying to figure out how much we can get, because WIDA has said to all of the applicants, you need to show a financial need. And one of the things that wouldn't qualify as a need is if we reduce the ARPA grant from 3.5 to 2.5 and said, oh, we have $1 million problem. We're already on record with the first application as saying we have a $3.5 million ARPA grant. So if we don't show up with that in this application that's going up in on Friday, we'll certainly get some calls from WIDA saying what happened with that. So that's part of the reason that we're, well, and the other piece of it is the breaking the 70 units into 2 chunks. We've done the scoring on that. Neither of the 2 chunks are likely to score separately on their own. So our best bet is to stay together with 70 units and move forward with the energy grants and with this WIDA grant. So I think as Chairman Oki had said, you know, if we're moving forward to try to do the rehab, the expectation that the $3.5 million at some point in time will be used is high. Unless we can score on some of those federal grants, that would potentially reduce it. But right now, I couldn't give you any comfort that there's a workaround to be able to reduce it without blowing up some of the scoring in the original applications that we've already submitted.
Well, thanks, Tom, 'cause
Supervisor,
that-
Randy, Supervisor Guslick had a question.
I guess my question is I've heard from a lot of people, and we've rehabbed some employee housing for our business, and one of the things that we typically do is do the baseboard heat because it's the cheapest way to put in, it's the least invasive. Yes, there's a cost to it. My question is if these grants don't come through for your solar, are we still going to go through with the expensive HVAC, or are we going to scrap that and say we can't afford to do that, we just need to do baseboard?
Yes, yes, we'll just stay with baseboard. Yeah.
Thank you.
Supervisor Cook.
Yeah, and I want to thank Tom because, again, if I add 11 million, 3.5, 3.8, 300 here, 500 there, 5.4, I come up with $24+ million. And so I thank Tom for clarifying that. We're not applying for $11 million. We're applying for part of $11 million.
Yes.
That's correct.
Correct. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry for yeah, that's exact. So the total program available is 11 million statewide.
Right. Okay. That, because again, if I run a calculator, I'm like, how do I take a $17 million project, I turn it into a $24 million plus, and you still need my our 3.5 million. So thank you for the clarification.
Is there Go ahead, Tom.
No, that's fine.
Is there any other questions? Supervisor Conan.
As the work gets done, is it ranked in any way, like prioritized, like say the garages, that wouldn't be a priority. So is that going to be like at the end of the list of what gets done and do the most important things first in case money runs out or?
Yes. The engineers and architects originally went through all of our facilities, and they did what's called a capital needs assessment. So they were able to look at all the emerging needs within all the structures. Some of those ancillary things, like you mentioned, garages, storage, the trusses in the roof, aren't a high priority. So those are things that we can defer. Oh, parking lots is another. But to answer your question, everything has been prioritized, and it really depends as we get into the project. If there's cost overruns, then we have some flexibility on deferring certain items, if that's sufficient. So.
Any other questions? Okay, what I'm going to ask my question that I stated before again. Is there any objection to the Barron County Housing Authority applying for this program on April 19, 2024, 3 days from now, and if approved, allowing that first WIDA Barron County housing application to proceed as planned? Right now, I don't see any objection, or at least not a lot of it. So I guess you get marching orders, Bob and Tom, to go forward with your application on the 19th, and hopefully everything keeps falling in place.
Thank you all for your support.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay, item number 14, presentation on waste to energy and recycling upgrades. Brent Bond, our head guy out there.
Good.
And you want to introduce Andy too, Brent?
Well, good morning, everyone. Like Louis said, my name is Brent Bond. I'm the plant director at our waste energy and recycling facility. I have with me Andy Hansen, the assistant manager out at the facility, a very close partner of mine in making this thing run. We're here today just to give a very brief overview of what the facility does for the new members and to update the existing members on where we're at currently in building America's greatest waste energy facility. So, with that, it's just going to be a quick presentation. We're going to start off with recycling. I'm going to let Andy handle the recycling end of it, and then I'll come in later with the waste energy side of it, and then we'll save time for questions at the end. So.
Good morning, everybody. So just as Brent said, very, very basic, quick to the point here. The recycling facility at our location was started in 1994. We collect and process all of the recyclables produced in Barron County, with the exception of the recyclables from the city and town of Rice Lake. There are 18 different drop box locations throughout Barron County for the general public to utilize. They are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We currently accept number 1 and number 2 plastics, glass, tin, steel, aluminum, cardboard, and newsprint at all of those drop box locations and also at our facility. All of those materials that come to our facility are manually sorted by we have 9 staff members that are strictly just recycling center staff members. They're manually sorted, put into their proper containers, and then baled through our process so that we can sell them to markets. "87% of the recycling is funded by tax dollars, and the recycling program outside of those tax dollars is free to use by everyone in Barron County. And the other 13% of the recycling center funding is by annual grants. Recent recycling facility upgrades, which there haven't been a lot of since 1994, but in 2021, we purchased a new truck, first new truck we'd purchased since the start of the facility. And included in that is a lot of new recycling boxes. Currently, we run about 7% contamination in our recycling stream, which is about half of the national average. National average is around 14. So we're doing very good with the recycling program. Brent has worked really hard at upgrading signage on the boxes to try to better educate the public and assist them in knowing what recyclables we accept and how to properly dispose of them. Also, in February, we replaced the original baler and in-feed conveyor so that we're able to bale these into more of an industry standard size bale from the original baler that we had. The the PLC, the computer that ran that baler, was nearing end of life and needed to get done. So the project was approved by Solid Waste Board, I believe in May, as a project to not to exceed $180,000. We procured all of the equipment and ran on time, and project came in just over $177,000, so on time and under budget. In the future, we're looking at options to potentially build a new recycling facility on a chunk of property that we have at or connected to where our facility is now. That would allow us to accept potentially a larger amount of materials and some different materials to be recycled. The current recycling building that we have now, we would repurpose into a larger waste processing and storage facility for the waste to energy side of the facility. So Administrator French and Director Bond have been looking into and applying for potential grants to get us some conceptual designs and ideas for that new recycling facility, hoping by 2025, 2026. Nothing set yet. And with that, I will pass over to Mr. Bond for the waste energy update.
Thanks,
So,
thanks, Andy. Good
do you
job.
have any questions for Andy on the recycling before we move on to Brent? It's Craig, or Supervisor Turcott.
Does that, how much does that contribute to the cost?
Very little. There's very little capital that we actually make outside of the tax dollars and the federal grant money. There's not a lot of money in the commodity market for recycling.
Supervisor Turcott.
Are you solving the problem of people dumping trash in these containers, or is that an ongoing issue?
It is improving. It's an ongoing issue. It's an ongoing struggle. I do think that it is a bit of a feather in our cap that we are half the national average for what there is for contamination in the recycling stream. So I think the work that we've done in especially since county took over management of our facility, I think there's been great improvement in the quality of the recycling that we've been taking in.
Any further questions on recycling? Supervisor Vaughn.
You said there are 18 drop boxes that are open all the time. I think the last time I was at the one in Chautauqua, it was manned. Is Chautauqua's now open all the time?
Yes, it is. Chautauqua is now a fully open site. We had 3 staffed recycling sites. They just didn't provide enough availability for the general public with the hours of operation that they were open. All 3 of those staff sites are now open to the public 24/7.
Supervisor Heller.
Question I see on your slide there, you say all of the areas are providing their recyclables except for Rice Lake and the town of Rice Lake. Is there a reason behind why they're not providing it? If that was able to be turned around, would you be able to accommodate that additional?
I'm going to defer this question to Brent with his knowledge of the.
That's a loaded question, Dana.
Barron County, the recycling facility is what's called the RU for the entire county, with the exception of the city of Rice Lake. Those tax, or any improved parcel in Rice Lake is not taxed, the $32 per year fee. And so it's a great question. Could we handle that volume? I would need some more numbers to see what type of volume that is. Right now, our recycling facility is running at about 85% capacity. And I think that Rice Lake's volume would probably put us over that capacity. What it boils down to, I think, in the larger scheme is whether it's a collected recycling service or if it's a drop box type service. Rice Lake offers curbside collection right now, which is great. It's convenient for the public. It's a good thing. We don't currently offer that, but that's one thing that we're looking towards in the future with Barron County Recycling, is to make it easier that way. So I think it's a complex question for me to answer. I would say at this time I'm leaning towards no. With our current facility, we're doers. I mean, we would probably try to make it happen, but I think that would probably put our facility around 110, 115% capacity.
Well, as a positive, we have a new city administrator, and
I'm
a new
aware.
mayor. So there are some things that could change, but we wouldn't want to try to change if it wasn't something that's gonna be a positive.
Yep, no, I'm aware, and I think that one thing that Rice Lake's got going really, really convenient, really good for it right now is the curbside pickup. It's something that, you know, all money and time aside, if I had my way, that would be offered throughout the entire county, so.
Any further questions on recycling? Supervisor Mosentein.
I just wanted to know we need another open house out there, so this crew can come and see, because things have changed tremendously. I go there and I get lost because I don't go the right way right away.
He's probably going to talk about the acid gas removal program and that, so there will be that opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Any further questions on recycling? Not, Brent, why don't you take us into the waste energy facility?
So yeah, on the waste energy side, we started operations in 1986. The Barron County Flow Control Ordinance that we have in effect right now requires that our facility manages all of the waste that's generated in Barron County, with the exception of the waste that's generated in Rice Lake. We currently do not take any waste from the city or the town of Rice Lake due to an agreement that we have with Rice Lake because they contested the flow control ordinance many, many years ago. It's a whole nother subject. I'm just want to be informational here on that. 85% of the waste received is converted to steam energy. 3% of the waste is recycled, and the other 12% of the waste is actually rejected to the landfill because we can't actually process the waste. Things like construction and demolition, and other types of large bulky waste that we just cannot process goes to the landfill. We're hoping to change that in the near future. 71% of the waste comes from, or about 71% of the waste comes from Barron County. And the other 29% comes from waste outside of the county, so surrounding counties and surrounding states. We're currently taking in waste from Ohio, Illinois. We've taken in waste from as far away as California. We actually take in a couple loads a year from a facility in California who wants to come to our facility. So waste energy is very popular. We are growing in popularity, and I think that Barron County is in an excellent position with its waste energy facility to be able to act and react to this culture that wants to become landfill free. The facility is an enterprise fund. It is not funded by tax dollars. So with the energy that we produce, the steam that's generated is used two different ways. About 40% of the steam that we produce goes to Saputo Cheese Almena, which is right next door to us. They're an excellent partner. They produce, it's actually the largest blue cheese manufacturer in the world by multiple orders. It's a very large facility, and we're very proud to be able to produce them with all their energy needs to make all that wonderful blue cheese. And the other 60% of the steam that we produce is converted into electricity and sold to Xcel Energy. This is giving you just a little bit of numbers of kind of where we were the past 3 years versus where our numbers, how they stand in 2023. You can see our online time is up by about 2%. The total waste that we processed, not total waste incinerated, but total waste processed, is up considerably. The recycled metal is up a little bit. The total steam produced is up a little bit. Total electricity generated is up substantially, and this is because capital improvements that we've made to our turbine generators, and our gross revenue is up. And so just kind of giving you a picture that the things that we're doing, although they're expensive and time consuming, they're stepping us in the right direction. So some of the projects that we're currently working on is the acid gas removal system. I'm sure that you've all heard about this project. We've been talking about it for a couple years now. We broke ground in December, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit. The total project cost is budgeted to be $4.1 million. Total spent to date is at $2.7 million, and the components are all being fabricated out of state. Some of the components are being fabricated in Kennesaw, Georgia, with the other components being fabricated in Kingston, Ohio. We expect these components and this equipment to start showing up within the coming weeks to our facility. We've already actually accepted one load, which I'll show you a picture of some of the equipment. Excavation started in November of last year. They dug 6 feet deep in the ground, and they poured the foundations and the footings for the equipment on December 8th. It was over 220 tons of concrete went into the ground to support the structure. We waited 28 days for the concrete to cure, and then we took the core samples and had them crush tested, and they passed. So we're good to go for construction. On Friday of last week, our ID fans showed up. ID fans are basically the lungs of the facility. This is what brings the air through the facility. They showed up last week. They are huge, and they are our first new toy, and we love it. They are sitting in the approximate spot where they're supposed to be. We had to put them there first because we're going to block that area with all the new equipment that's going to be coming in. We're planning on erecting, or they're planning on starting to erect structural steel starting Monday of next week, I believe it was. Monday of next week, they're going to plan on putting up the columns to support all this equipment. The structure is going to be roughly 90 feet tall, so around 9 stories tall. It's around 50 feet wide and 50 feet long in dimension. So it's a very big piece of equipment. It's going to fill up that entire picture. You can see our stack in the background, and we just have that whole entire area is prepped for construction to start anytime. Been in very close contact with the engineers and the construction crews. We have no concerns at this time. Final deadline of bringing the actual equipment online at this time is looking to be around that July 4th weekend, which is kind of unfortunate for the staff, but luckily the crew there is ready to go and work through July 4th if we need to. Upcoming projects, we're looking at hopefully possibly buying or purchasing a waste shredder so that we can handle the other 12% of the waste that we're not currently able to accept right now, along with opening up our avenues to accept even more waste. And so we're looking at possibly buying a shredder and a material handler to do this. And it's all in this intention to get us poised into an area that we can accept more waste, to divert all this waste from landfills. There's more and more companies, very large companies, Amazon, Nestle, 3M, that want to be landfill free, and they contact Barron County Waste Energy to make that happen. So we're simply trying to reorganize ourselves so that we can grow with the growing times. Any questions about waste energy? We do, as Louis said, I love giving tours, or as Punky said, I love giving tours. And simply contact me. My information's available. Annie's information is available on the website. Anybody here that knows me can get a hold of me. We really, really do enjoy giving tours, and the facility is so technical and so big, it's hard for me to give a presentation to say what it actually does. So I encourage tours. Also, once the acid gas removal system is up and running and we work all the kinks out of it, we're definitely going to have an open house there. We'll spend the day there and just watch the lovely world of garbage.
As Brent alluded to, there is a lot of attention, national attention, being had on our Barron County's waste energy facility. So it's a lot of it's in the papers. It's on the Twin Cities News. And, I know the Solid Waste Board and the people that know what's going on out there couldn't be more proud of that management and staff at that waste energy plant. Supervisor Mullen.
Yes, does Wisconsin Counties Association know anything about your waste to energy? It seems in the last issue, they were telling how to get rid of garbage, but it was always mounding it.
I'm not sure that the association knows on an administration level. We do attend Wisconsin Counties Association I believe it's in the fall, right? Yeah, every fall we attend it and hand out our information. But as far as on an administration level, I'm not sure how aware they are.
Yes, they do. I'm on the Wisconsin Counties Association Board of Directors. When that magazine came out from the counties, it was a disgrace to our waste energy plant. And the first call I made was to Mark O'Connell, the president of the WCA, and Sherry Krause, the editor for that magazine. And they've both told me, anytime you want them to come up to this waste energy plant and do a separate article on it, they will. Supervisor Banks.
You mentioned the removal of acid gas. What specifically type of acid are you talking about?
Hydrogen chloride and sulfur dioxide are the two major ones, basically the only two constituents of it. There's some smaller ones, but hydrogen chloride and sulfur dioxide.
Wow.
Supervisor Cook.
I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't think government generally does better than the private sector. This is one example where that thing is well managed, and I don't know if the private sector could do a better job. Good job.
I think they're starting to wake up to You see the mounds in Eau Claire, the mounds in Johnson's Creek, you know, they're running out of places to put all the garbage. This is the wave of the future. Supervisor Schradel.
Well, I've been on that board out there as both a member of this body and also because there's 5 county board members and 4 citizen members, right, Jeff? Okay, I've been on both in many years, and I've seen the lows and the highs, and this is definitely heading for the high point. And as far as what Randy said, you know, that's oftentimes true. The public sector does a better job in this case because those 2 gentlemen there and these 2 gentlemen up, and including John and Jody over there, they've done such a magnificent job. They've put us in the black. It's unbelievable amount of generation. And of course, they're proactive in this. Well, you probably don't want to get into that now, but you'll see it when you get out there. If we purchase that big shredder, that's going to open a lot of stuff up for us out there too. So that's my take on it. Thank you.
And we can't take the credit. They're the ones doing it out there. Supervisor Rogers.
I want to let the members of the county board know that a week from Thursday at the campus in Rice Lake, there's a presentation entitled Something's Burning, Waste Incineration. Brent, I assume you or Andy or someone will be there?
I will be, I think. I have not. They didn't ask me to come and present, actually. I did hear something about it here just at the end of last week, but.
It starts at 12:30 at the university there at Ritzinger Hall. They are great sessions, and you want to learn something more. Professor Wentz is going to be the main presenter, and she knows her stuff about waste incineration, and she's on our side on this whole thing.
Supervisor Amon.
There's been a lot of concern now in newspapers about PFAS in water. Eau Claire has had to shut down several wells. And I was just wondering, is your facility burning hot enough to destroy PFAS? For instance, the carpeting, what we probably had taken out of here was stain resistant, so it probably had PFAS. So many wrappers from fast food stores have PFAS. Cosmetics have it. These are all cancer causing, or they assume they are. Is your temperature hot enough to destroy the PFAS yet?
So it's an excellent question. PFAS is a huge concern, and we've been working with the DNR and engineers from Foth Infrastructure to try to figure that out if we're able to do it. And the short answer is, unfortunately, in our primary chamber where the waste is actually being burnt, that no, it's not actually burning hot enough. The secondary chamber is quite a bit hotter than what is required to destroy PFAS. However, the actual PFAS doesn't volatilize and make it up to that level. So the next area that we're looking at is will our ash that comes out of the unit, will it actually filter PFAS out and actually, sequester, grab that PFAS and hold on to it from getting into groundwater? And I don't have any solid concrete answers on that yet. It's something that we're looking into. We think it's a possibility because of the amount of carbon that's left in the ash. But it's something that we're looking into. Excellent question.
Supervisor Turcott.
I just want to segue off of Supervisor Rogers with, I think Wisconsin Public Radio had a presentation, and it really was interesting. So if you haven't listened to it, I don't know if, Jeff, if you could get that information out, but it was really good, and it was promoting Barron County's waste energy. So,
And it was kind of in layman's terms too. You could understand what they're doing.
yeah, exactly. So,
I would if I could clarify, if you're going to watch that presentation, some of the numbers aren't quite accurate for the people that like to do the numbers and the math. It actually alludes to us burning more than 100 tons of waste per day. The number that Dr. Wentz gives during that interview is actually the amount of waste processed, not the amount of waste incinerated. So keep that in mind. I don't want to get phone calls saying, well, you burned more than you should have. That's not the case.
From the DNR, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. So. And I would want to turn, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bill.
acid gas. Why don't you give them a little bit of an overview how much possible money that's gonna save us because of the lime and the ash expense for getting rid of that?
I don't have the dollars right in front of me. I don't have the numbers right now, but one of the biggest players with the acid gas removal system is it's going to allow us to increase our capacity, our permitted capacity from 100 tons a day to 150 tons a day. So right now, our permit's 100 tons a day. We cannot burn over 100 tons a day. The pollution control system, the technology involved with this, will allow us to actually increase our production by 50 tons a day, all by reducing our emissions by half of what they are now. As soon as we put this system online and demonstrate that we can burn over 100 tons a day, then we will have to follow what's called New Source Performance Standards, NSPS, which is a much more stringent emission guidelines than what we have to follow right now. So we're going to add capacity to the plant, all by reducing the emissions that we currently put out. I apologize, I don't have the exact numbers right now. We did, this is a 2-year conversation, if not longer, where we put together the data and said, okay, will this thing pay for itself? Again, the waste energy facility is not taxpayer funded, so we aim to pay for this ourselves in increase in revenue. And the worksheets that we came up with and out of the conversations that we had, it showed that it will pay for itself.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thanks, Brent and Andy.
Thank you. And I would add if I can, it was this board that allowed that place to start back in 1986. Not necessarily this board, but it was you people sitting around here that made that tough decision to put one of these in those times. And so it's not necessarily us. We're just running something you gave us. So thank you.
Keep it up. Okay, item number 14, presentation on the Highway Department operations and projects. Mike Haves, our Highway Commissioner.
Well, good morning, everyone. That's going to be hard to follow. That was an excellent presentation by the folks at the Waste Energy Facility. I've been here 7 months. Mike Haves, I'm the Highway Commissioner, registered professional engineer. I think some of you know my background is in some of this kind of stuff. Believe it or not, I designed landfills back in one of my prior jobs straight out of college. A lot of landfills, a lot of ash at coal power plants, coal-fired power plants. So I'm really interested in the presentation they just gave. So this is me. So I got a presentation up, got some pictures. We'll go through a few things. It's going to be kind of high level, kind of elementary level. Just give the new folks in the room kind of an idea of what we do at the highway. So next slide. So I'll start with our mission statement. I think that's important. Every department should have a mission statement. So our mission statement is we strive to attain our goal of keeping the state and county highways in the best possible condition for the safety and use of county residents and guests. Plain and simple. Highway safety is our #1 priority. So next slide. And the pictures, the last 2 pictures are of our new facility. This is a photograph of our old facility after the roof tin was pulled off. So kind of a neat picture. Highway Department provides year-round maintenance services on the county highway and through contract on the state federal highway system. So prior to me being highway commissioner in Burnett County back in 2015, I had no idea that the highway departments, county highway departments, handled the state highways in Wisconsin, or the only state in the nation that does that. I worked a lot over in Minnesota. They've got their own fleet of equipment. MnDOT does. They do all their own thing. I believe that this is a very cost-effective way to do it, to have the counties handle all the work on the state highway system. The counties have the equipment anyway, so why not put it out on the state system? So we actually make quite a bit of revenue on that, and I'll probably get into that here in a few minutes. Miles of highway maintained. So on a county highway system, I say centerline miles, so that's just basically the mileage of those entire roadway systems, not the lane miles. So 290.74 to be exact. And then on the state and interstate system, we've got 423 and some change on the lane miles. So they differentiate between the two a little bit because interstate highways have multiple lanes, and that includes the exit ramps and whatnot as well, and the wayside facilities. So next slide, please. What we do, we perform major road work and minor bridge construction work on the county and local road systems. These are actually a couple pictures from my time in Burnett County. I don't have any yet in Barron. This will be my first year building roads in Barron County, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, we have the capabilities of doing pretty much everything that the private side does, with the exception of on the bridge work. We can't do a big bridge like shown in the picture here, but we can do some of the redecking work and some of the, I guess, more complex maintenance activities on those bridges. So next slide. We do have our own blacktop plant and gravel crushing plant. These facilities, kind of like Waste Energy, are revenue generators for us. They're self-sufficient. They make us very competitive in the market. So we're kind of doing the same thing as Waste Energy in this case, where we're using our own resources to benefit the taxpayers of our county. Ultimately, our goal, and I'll get to it in a couple slides, is to reduce the dependence on the general property tax levy and provide the best possible services that we can to our residents. So I just have a couple of schematic views of kind of typical batch plant and a gravel crushing plant. So next slide, please. This is our organization chart. So starting with the administrator, he's my boss, he's a good boss. And then there's me, and then I've got a number of folks that are underneath me, and we've got, right now, we've got 55 folks in our department, full-time individuals. In the summer, we'll staff up to around 80. We hire a lot of college kids that are maybe, trying to figure out life yet, and they realize, they think pretty quick that they don't want to be flagging for paving units all day. So we do bring some folks into our repair shop that are with the local tech schools to help further their, I guess, credentials or their background, build a resume. We're even looking to hire someone for financial reasons within our office as well, due to an upcoming retirement. And so we've got a really good staff. It's one of the main reasons I came here. I vetted the staff and actually the board in front of me a little bit before I came, just to make sure that I was going to be working for a good organization. And so I would say that we're top notch here. So next slide, please. Okay, here's some interesting information. I'm really big into the finance side of things. First and foremost, that's kind of my responsibility within the department, is make sure financially that we're operating and being fiscally responsible. I'm actually very personally fiscally conservative, so I'm watching the numbers all the time. So there's a few big pieces of the pie. One of them, I guess I'll call it the pumpkin pie, so the browner color, that's a big slice. So that's work that we do for local units of government. Most of that is paving. A lot of it with pretty big road maintenance projects as well, culvert replacements, some minor bridge replacement work. So that's a huge revenue generator for us to have that. And the bigger that slice of pie gets, the smaller the blue opposite, we'll call it blueberry maybe, that's the general property tax levy. So right now, I can't see the number, but it's probably around 20%. And it's my goal to continue to get that to it decrease. There's the purple up in the upper left side that I can't hardly see over there, but what does that one say? I'm sorry. County road construction. Okay, county road construction. So yeah, that one there as well. I guess I'm kind of going backwards here. I'm sorry, I was talking about revenues to start with, but this is expenses. So I apologize. My eyes are not very good. So these are all of our expenses on an annual basis. So, just you can look at some of the bigger ones and where they're at. You can see some of the state highway expenses, winter maintenance expense, county highway maintenance expenses, and whatnot, and so forth. So the next slide, and I'll probably jump back and forth between that slide and this slide. So this is the one I started talking about. So the darker brown down in the lower portion, that's the work for other governmental units. And Barron County is fairly unique in the fact that we have a full construction crew. A lot of other counties do, but maybe not to the extent that we do with our blacktop plant. I think there's 14 other counties in the state that have their own blacktop plants. And so, of course, that's going to be a big revenue generator for us. It's also a big expense, but that plant itself is self-sufficient. So on this one, this is what I started talking about, is the bigger the piece of pie is down in the lower portion of the work for others, intergovernmental services, the smaller we can make the general property tax. portion on the upper right there. That's kind of more or less our goal as an operating group. So we're what's called an internal service fund. So it's fairly similar to waste energy in the fact that we're kind of off on our own, and the goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible. And so we're not quite there. The analogy I use to describe our department is, let's say that Barron County government is the sun. And so we're one of the planets that's kind of oscillating around the sun or orbiting around the sun. And so every now and then they'll blast off a rocket to us. And so the general property tax levy, that rocket full of funding comes to us first part of the year. There's also some transfer from the county general fund. Again, that's another one that we want to try to minimize. And, you know, I'm actually pretty impressed with how low that number is. That was about the same number that I had in Burnett on a department that's about a quarter of the size. So we're doing really good right there. I'd like to see general property tax revenues come down a little bit. We'll be working for that. I'm not saying this is out of line by any means, but that's, like I said, ultimately our goal. So then there's just a few other revenue sources spilled in there. But maybe if we jump back to expenses real quick, we can look at that again. So this is the one I was having a hard time seeing. But again, you can see, you know, how our expenses are laid out on here, what proportion they are. And again, it's all about trying to balance expenses and revenues. And so at the end of the year, usually what happens is, you know, our actual needs from the transfer and the intergovernmental transfer is kind of dependent upon our performance with doing work for others and whatnot. So that's just kind of a placeholder right now to balance it. It's about a $21 million annual budget that we work with. And so a good portion of that is the work for others, as well as, and I also want to mention that the amount of dependence on the general property tax levy, as you can see, is only about 20% of that. So for our entire $21 million a year operation, there's, you know, less than a quarter of that is funded by the public. So keep that in mind. That's a pretty big deal. I think I'm almost done, so we'll move along. One of the big projects I worked on fairly early here was to develop somewhat of a pavement management plan, long range. This depiction here is just for the work, kind of the major work we plan to do this year. So it lays out what major road projects we're looking to do. It lays out what the major maintenance projects are. So County Highway P south of Elmina, so going by the waste energy plant and cheese plant. That road was actually rebuilt back in, I don't remember what year it was, 2014, somewhere around there, by the sand plants, and it's due for some resurfacing right now, some minor resurfacing. We're going to do a scrub seal on that to kind of dress up that road a little better. It's going to be one of our major maintenance projects. I've got a number of paving projects, so right off of P, between P and F on D, we're going to resurface that segment of road. That's in pretty rough shape. In the future years, we'll continue to go east from there on D. We're also looking at a stretch that we'll be doing down in the Dallas area, County Road U, going to the south. I've got a 3-year plan going on there for that entire stretch down to the Dunn County line to change some of those curves out to 40-mile-an-hour curves. That's one of the projects that Louis was talking about, that there's plans on the shelf for that, shelf ready, and we're looking for funding on that still for helping with that. I think we'll probably be able to get some. The last project I wanted to point out is D, going out of Chautauqua. That's a pretty rough road going all the way out to the county line. So we're going to resurface that entire piece. And I actually had a meeting today at 11. I thought this meeting would have been done before now to meet with the Public Works Director over there to talk about the segment within their city limits. So I think that's all I'll cover on this. You can go to the next slide. So here's something else I've been working on. I mainly worked on this for Jeff. We were looking at incorporating this information in a bond rating study, more or less. But I developed a 6-year plan. It's fairly detailed, and I'll, I guess, disclaimer it with it's subject to change. I still have work to do on it, but I spent a lot of time on this. So this is what our highway committee is going to be seeing on an annual basis, maybe even a couple times a year. The county board will be seeing it pretty much every year too, I would expect. I don't mind even including it in the budget document if we have to. So it just lays out what year, what roads we're going to do, what the costs are, where the funding sources are coming from, if it's county funding, state, federal, and how much of each. So I think there's 2 pages of this. There's actually a 3rd page, but I didn't include it. So that's what I've been working on. So planning, figuring out what projects need to be done, prioritizing them, assigning funding sources to them, and figuring out how we're going to go about doing them. One thing I want to mention on that County Highway D going out of Chautauqua, I'm not afraid to work with the private sector. So that stretch of road has some state funding on it. The requirement is that it needs to be bid and let out. And so we'll probably be, I picked that road because it's really close to one of Monarch Paving's plant. They have a plant right on the county line. There's no way that I can haul blacktop from Cumberland all the way over there to do that project when I know that they could do it for less because they're right there. So I don't have a problem making those decisions. I call them up, I get together with their VP, we talk about it, and the decision's made that that's all going to be bid out. And so you'll see most likely Monarch, because they're the only other paving company in the area doing that work, and I don't have a problem with that. During the time they're doing that work, our drums will keep rolling, our blacktop drums, and we'll be doing work elsewhere within the county. So, and my crew is fine with that too. I wanted to make sure to mention that. So I think I got one more slide coming up. Items of focus. So I'm new and need to make changes where needed, and I'm not afraid to do that. So one of the top priorities is to enhance positions of leadership within the department. So we're going through a change right now with our shop and facilities manager. Did a real good job for us, but I think it's time that we go with somebody that's maybe got a little bit better leadership within the department, and that's what we're working through. So we just hired somebody to replace him. He had left about a year ago, or not a year ago, a month and a half ago. Again, solidify our 6-year pavement management plan. I can actually probably even turn that into more of a 30-year plan. And that doesn't just include, well, in this case, it's just pavement, but I'm also going to be doing it same for equipment as well, putting together an equipment replacement plan and having that real long term. Here's a real important one to me is work to improve relations with local units of government where needed. So if we got any townships that for whatever reason were turned off by the highway department, past leadership or whatever the case is, looking to mend those fences, I think it's important to have good solid partnerships there. And that ties in with the next one as well, to build a positive image of the highway department with the public. That's a never-ending battle. They think we're just out there to destroy their mailboxes every time it snows and cut their trees back too far. So, but we always got to treat our folks with respect and dignity. So we'll always be keeping that on the fronts of our minds, and also looking to secure funding sources for future work. And so there's a lot of grant opportunities out there through the latest bill funding package that came out that produced a lot of money locally. There's more out there yet. And, thanks to the lawmakers on the highest level, all the way down to the county to make sure that that money's coming to us in the right places for the right reasons. So I think that's about it. We can move to the next slide. And that's a picture of our old facility, believe it or not. We were able to dig one up, and that's what it used to look like back in its glory days. So it looks a lot different from that now, but we're real excited to have our new facility. It's gonna, I think, help yield us some good savings in money with our equipment, keep that out of the weather. I think I can get at least another 2 years out of our trucks. That's gonna generate a lot of revenue for us. And what else was I thinking on that? There's the state. I want to mention that too. So the state, with the work we do with the state, it's not just about taking care of the roads and paying us for that. They're pretty generous. They pay us for the facility as well. So every year we get a check for, they call it equipment storage. is pretty significant now that we have this new big facility. So it's based on the initial cost of that facility, and it's prorated by the amount of equipment hours we put on their system versus the equipment hours we put on our own system. So it's pretty significant. I'm expecting there'll probably be, I don't know, close to $500,000 payment every year from the state to help with the cost of our new facility. So keep that in mind as well. That cost isn't all completely borne by the county folks. So anyway, wanted to throw that out there. I don't think I have anything else. I open it up for questions.
Well, the thing that Mike didn't mention is he not only the highway commissioner of Burnett County, but he previously worked for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. And a lot of his contacts there are beneficial to Barron County now because he's here working for us. Any questions? Supervisor Hanson.
A couple commissioners ago decided we needed horizontal joints in the blacktop, and we're still thumping on those. Is there a cure for it?
To get rid of that pavement and start from scratch, I think. So, yeah, I've noticed that. I asked questions about that right off the bat and what's going on with these roads. And, there's things we can do to try to smooth out the bumps, but eventually it's just all got to go away and be redone. Good question.
Any other questions?
That looks like
Supervisor
Pete.
Olson.
Yep.
If I recall correctly, the sand plants contributed money into a fund for future maintenance. Is that what's being used to do some of the work out there now?
Correct. Yeah, good question. Yep. So the way that worked, and I don't know if it's supposed to be kept under wraps, is for every ton of material that the sand plants hauled over the roads in a truck, 10 cents a ton went into a fund. So we have a fund right now that's worth over $3.2 million from that we can use toward fixing the roads that are primarily used for sand plant hauling. So for the maintenance work we're going to do on P this summer, that's all going to be funded out of that account.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Supervisor Patty Anderson.
Hi, maybe that answered my question, but through Hagen and V all summer long, those big trucks go. Are they assessed for any damage to the road? I know my neighbor was Minnesota DOT, and he said that they were always charged accordingly to what they haul. Is that do we do that, the big trucks?
I'm not aware of any arrangement that was made for those facilities or those businesses in Hagen.
I mean, they just go through constantly. I mean,
That's a private Monarch and Matthew. That's their plant, and I don't think we're charging them anything.
I'm not aware of that. Yeah, I see
just
John shaking his head.
because the potholes are bad.
Are we, John?
Again.
No. Yeah, and that's on the plan for next year to be replaced all the way through Hagen, and we'll go with extra thick pavement. We'll have to. One of the struggles we have is to balance commerce with our roads. So roads are there for commerce. So is it fair to charge everybody that uses the roads and the ones that have heavier loads? Is that the right thing to do? So, because the roads are there mainly to get goods and services, people from here to there. So it's a challenging balancing act. But I have a grant from the state to do that work through town in Hagen. And I've been working with the village as well to make sure that we incorporate any of their needed work or give them the opportunity to do their work, as well as some storm sewer work that needs to be done, some curb and gutter repairs. So that's why it's not happening in '24. They needed a little more time. And so in '25, we'll be doing that stretch through Hagen.
Oh, that's good to know, because the village did not have the money to do the curbs. So anyway, okay, good, thanks.
Yep.
Any further questions? Not, thanks, Mike, for an excellent presentation.
Thanks, folks. Yep.
Okay, item 6, and just by the way, Mike commented about the length of the meetings. We're usually about an hour and a half. This one is always longer. I'm sorry about that, but that's the way she goes. Item number 16, resolution, Wisconsin Assessment Monies, WAM program application. This is the reason the agenda got amended. And what's happened is our Economic Development Officer, Dave Armstrong, as well as he's also our Assemblyman, and he's been working diligently on this. I'm sure our Senator Romaine Quinn has helped him, and that we were getting some good vibes from the Department of Natural Resources, and also change there, and the executive committee authorized $2,500 to proceed with trying to look at what they call the Alcatraz property. It's the stuff around Johnson truck bodies that we're trying to get cleaned up so that can be a profitable tax-paying piece of property. So could I get a resolution to approve that WAM grant? Motion by Supervisor Rogers, seconded by Supervisor Olson. Is there any questions on that? Seeing none, all is in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Okay, that the resolution's carried. Item number 18, and this requires a 2/3 vote, so I suppose can we? Okay, how do you want to handle a 2/3 by? Can we do a show of hands? Okay, we can do that, I guess. You know, what's easier for you? The roll call, you want that? Okay, so we'll do on this one. It does require 2/3, and we will do a roll call vote on it. This is a resolution, the final budget adjustment to close the 2023 accounts. About 71,000 plus was in your packet. Does anybody have any questions on that? Now, can I get a motion to okay. Motion by Supervisor Cook, seconded by Supervisor Schradel, that we close the books on the 2023 accounts. Any questions? Not, let's do a roll call vote.
All right, Patty Anderson? Yes. Bob Rogers is absent. I'm sorry, Bob Anderson is absent. Good grief. I know.
He's there.
You're
John
bigger than a
Banks?
bread box, Bob.
Carolyn Bartlett? Then it bumps over to Pete Schneider. Randall Cook?
Yes.
Bill Efforts?
Yes.
Pam Fall?
Yes.
Jim Gores?
Yeah.
Ernell Hansen?
Yes.
Dennis Jenkins?
Yes.
Dana Heller?
Yes.
Kathy Krug?
Yes.
Audrey Kuslik?
Yes.
Fran Langman? Craig Fowler?
Yes.
Carol Moan? Roberta Mosentine? Gary Nelson? Amanda Conan? Louis Oki?
Yes.
Pete Olson? Bob Rogers?
Yes.
Bill Schradel?
Yes.
Charles Bergeson?
Yes.
Marv Thompson?
Yes.
Craig Turcott?
Yes.
Diane Vaughn?
Yes.
And Stacy Wenzel?
Yes.
All right, that carried with 28 yes and 1 absent.
Okay, so that resolution's passed. Thank you, everybody. Item number 19, legislative redistricting maps. And we have Senator Romaine Quinn and Assemblyman Dave Armstrong here to explain the new districts that are coming up and what you can expect when you cast your vote.
Hi, everyone. Since I presented at executive, I'll let Romaine do this one.
All right.
Did you tell him ahead of time?
Awesome. Yeah, good afternoon. Your meetings aren't that long compared to the stuff we sit through in Madison, but I'll try to keep it very brief. So as you know, there are new legislative maps, and when the Supreme Court, or when the governor signed the new maps, they became effective immediately. So technically, I am not your state senator, so don't call me anymore. No, I'm just kidding. And Dave actually is not your representative right now. So Barron County is in the new 23rd state Senate seat, effective today. So I'm allowed to finish my term in the 25th Senate seat. And so your state senator is Jesse James. He's from Altoona. And your state representative is Rob Summerfield from Bloomer. And now obviously the assembly is up every 2 years. And so that is going to change for your assembly rep after November, come January. If reelected, Dave will then be the new representative for the 67th, which you're a part of. But Senator Jesse James, who I can say in confidence is not going to be your senator post 2 years from now, will be your senator for now. So it's kind of goofy.
you did not have an opportunity to vote for or against your representative or senator that currently represent you, not only through January, but 2 years from now. And then there will be another election cycle. So our offices, obviously the public doesn't understand this either. So our offices are obviously always coordinating. We just got calls the other day where if you go on a map and you plug in your address and you say, who is my senator, they get pinged down to Jesse James, whose office then pings them back to us, depending on the issue, to try to share that. So if you do have questions or concerns, technically I'm not your senator any longer for at least 2 years, but I still live in Barron County. It's my home as well as yours, and I'll continue to do the job that I was elected to do. So essentially Polk County and Barron County got swapped. So I am now the senator for Polk County. So they are just figuring this out too. So not just you. So with that, any questions at all? Is that clear as mud?
Yeah.
It is clear as mud.
So 2 years from now, there will be a new election. 2 years is a long time. So there could be someone completely new running as well. So we'll see what happens. So Barron County is part of a seat that goes from here over into Price County, down to Medford, and then all the way down to Clark County and Neillsville, and back up the north side of Chippewa County. So this will be the first time since the 1960s Barron County is not part of the northern Wisconsin state Senate seat based out of Superior. So a little change for everyone, and we're all kind of working through the kinks right now.
Supervisor Heller.
Can you tell me what you think of that?
You're a nonpartisan board, so I will keep my mouth
let's
shut.
not go there. Supervisor Gores.
Are we going to have to go to Polk County to vote for you then, or what?
No, I still live in Barron County, and I have no intention of moving.
So so the next time the cycle there, so will you be like switching districts to vote to
So
for, or what, how is that going to work?
yeah, so in 2 years from now, I can either make a decision to move into Washburn County and continue to run for the 25th state Senate seat by number, or we can choose not to move and run for the new 23rd, which we are now in, which will also not have an incumbent because that gentleman is getting drawn out of his home in his district as well. So we are one of 4 seats that really you were appointed a senator with no right to weigh in on that person. But I will tell you, Jesse James is a good man, former police chief, stand-up guy. So, but again, we'll continue to work together on trying to man the constituent services that you all expect from your state legislators.
Any other questions for Dave or Romaine?
Crazy.
Yeah, and we're still getting calls from the 75th, and every day. And so we'll continue to keep getting calls and respond to them. But remember now, with the Supreme Court announcement, this could all change again in 2 years. So, yeah, exactly.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Number 20, progress and financial update on the highway facilities. The packet was in your, the item, we were just under 100 grand for, on the positive side yet. It looks like we still have enough money, even with our direct data, things that are gonna happen out there. So I don't think we're gonna run over budget. And Jody's doing an excellent job along with our highway people to get these contracts closed out, and you're just about there, aren't you, Jody? It's slow. I know. Are there any questions on that?
I have one quick
Okay.
question.
Go ahead.
So we just passed the end of the year deal. There was legal fees in there for like 52,000 highway department. How come they're not here? And they were there.
They came out of the administrative fund, didn't they? It's always been, that was always charged the county board for that extra eyes looking at the highway facility overrun.
I'm still counting it the other way, but all right, thank you.
That's your prerogative. All right. Yeah, Bill.
Our legal fees have been paid from the gentleman here represented, whether we were gonna sue or whatever we're gonna do there. That's been paid then, or?
Yeah, all the legal fees that had to do with the highway facility have been paid.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll go on to item number 21, the ARPA expenditures. Again, Jody updates that all the time. Right now, Jeff and Jody are working on a lot of financial plans that we'll have upcoming. I believe, so that extra we have there, we won't talk about where that's going for sure yet, because Jeff's still working on all this. So I hope I don't get any questions, because we don't know the answers yet, but they'll do the right thing. Any concerns? All right. Item number 22, report from our county administrator.
All right, thank you for turning in your committee assignment forms. I've given those to Wendy already. If you haven't turned it in, get those to me as soon as you can. So let's do a little math. We are off 0.003% on 76 million. Let's translate that into an average household budget for people who live in Barron County. How much would a household budget be off?
Pretty much.
Not supposed to be a test here.
Well, I know in the Cook household, that number's gonna be close to zero.
$1.46. So ask your constituents how many of them, first of all, have a family budget. My friends who are bankers, and my sister was a banker for years, she'll tell you that they know for a fact that less than 20% of all households even have a family budget. So ask that question. I've given you some very important data in your packet. We're going to start out with the expenditure graphs. We're not going to spend a lot of time on these, but you should be able to tell your constituents that 81% of everything that we disperse for an accounts payable stays within the state of Wisconsin. 61% stays in the county. 74% stays in Barron County plus our contiguous counties. Now, these are accounts payable checks that we cut. You will see that some of them are out of state, and that's only because we make payments to lock boxes, and lock boxes are in Georgia and Kentucky and South Dakota. Why are they in Georgia, Kentucky, and South Dakota? Because they have no 2.5% transactionary tax on financial statements like we do in Wisconsin. So guess what? People are smart. 2.5% on $1 billion is a lot of money. You can buy a lot of space in South Dakota versus Wisconsin when you're doing that. So when you see the stuff that's out of state, those are typically disbursements that are going to drop boxes or lock boxes. So that's the expenditure graphs. I've put the strategic planning work group updates. Those are color coded. That was a wonderful committee to work with because it got down to the fact that it's a great thing to talk to people you meet every day as far as what we do here at the county. So many people have no clue of what we do. They think they know by the bar they attend and the fish fry they go to and the cocktail party they attend, but they don't know the facts. Up to including a guy who got a hold of me and wanted to know how come we were promoting smoking in Barron County, and he called me from Russ County, and I said, what are you talking about? Well, the opposite was true. It was our aging committee trying to get elderly people to stop smoking, not actually smoking. So it always matters. That little word, stop, is a big deal sometimes. Okay, that's important to use. Facility tours, when we meet on the 17th, or when we meet in May, is I believe it's the 20th of May. We'll
7
start
p.m.
We're going to start at 5:30. We'll meet in the front portico of the Justice Center. Judge Babler and the sheriff will meet us there. We'll walk around. We'll go to the jail. Everybody's welcome to attend. This is for new members, but everybody's welcome to walk around. Judge Babler's excited to do that for us. And sheriff will be there. We'll go to dispatch. You'll see a lot of things. It's a great learning experience for everybody. At the June meeting, we'll be out at the highway department. Mike's going to get prepared for that. And so then in July, we'll see where that goes depending on the acid gas removal system. And then typically in August, August or September, we'll go up to the campus. So, and I put in the information on the Health and Human Services overdraft, which Jody will take care of. This is an anomaly. It's not something that happens. Oftentimes, the Health and Human Services over the last 14 years has not had this problem, and sometimes we run into this. It's no different than the Highway Department having an extraordinary plow event. So with that, any questions for me? All right. Yes, Bill.
Schradel.
Been decided about this extra county meeting we may have because of the situation with the.
The bid is going to be open tomorrow, late morning, I think. So that after that is opened up and we know what it is, Steve and Jeff and I will be talking. So then as soon as we decide something, we'll let you know right away.
If we're gonna have a meeting, we'll let you know. I would just, at this point, we'll have to post the agenda by Friday afternoon. So just, at this time, I just plan on keeping that morning open, even if it's just for one thing. I don't think it'd be a long meeting. We try to keep it to one item and move forward from there.
Thank you.
That's all that I have.
Yeah, Jeff, could I ask you, so the wording on the strategic plan, that's still on the
It's still on the website. I've taken care of it. We've moved progressive to responsible.
Okay,
I
just
didn't know
ask-
one word was that big of a deal, but I guess it's a huge deal.
Could be.
Any other questions? Okay, item number 21, 23, appointments. Do we have any? Okay. 24, claims, petitions, and correspondence. Okay. Suggestions for future agenda items. The only thing I have is that we will be there's a lot of people have called Jeff and I about committees they want to be on and that type of thing. And Jeff and I have been talking that there's a lot of interest in the law enforcement committee. Right now, there's 5 board members appointed to that, and we're considering going to 7. So that would require policies and procedures updates. So if we continue down that path, which I think we will, in the May meeting, we'll be changing our policies and procedures. It's a couple words, but that would allow us to increase the law enforcement committee. And we've talked about this with Sheriff Fitzgerald and that, and he's supportive of that. So that's where we're at now. Anything else? Supervisor Banks.
Well, I updated you in April. That's already, everything set. The final date for the auction's May 22nd. It'll be taken to the property committee on June 4th and to the county ward in June.
Anything else? Not,